TID policy development.
This is an initiative coming forth from Chair Hammond from the CDA and President Rozek and Trustee Amanda, who's now our new trustee member on the CDA. Like all groups, we need to recalibrate every so many years, and there's been a lot of transition as well in the CDA, but more importantly, do some strategic planning with the board so that we can establish some congruency of thought process in terms of where priorities are at. And a dovetail of that would be also to establish a tax or district policy in conjunction with our new, or soon to be, when the agreement's approved, our new financial advisors, Baker Tilly, who it's been a really wonderful experience. They actually have a group that specializes in strategic planning with both boards because they understand the importance of having there to be a common sheet of music between both, and I think also an opportunity to address some of the policy questions and put to bed a process that can work for the board, the CDA, and as well as the staff.
And just to add to that, from the financial advisor during the interview made a strong case that most municipalities that have policy strategic planning, the next step is an application process, and that it's not uncommon, that that's what they're used to seeing, and so they would help us establish that simultaneously after strategic planning.
So is there there was some, I saw the description, there was some discussion of talking with the board, but is there gonna be a public process to seek public input into these policies, or?
The TIP policy?
Yeah, or TID, or strategic planning on development, or overall.
So-
That's a great question,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
we also have our comp plan in the next, it'll come up in the agenda later, but, and economic development is one of the, components, it's one of the 7 that you have to address.
If the board should select this to move forward, one of the next steps would be for, the 3 recommending groups to Chair Hammond, President Rozek, Trustee Amenta, and Baker Tilly, once they're on board, is to meet to go through an outline of what that process would look like and what would be included. So I'm imagining that we could discuss some of that at that time.
Yeah, I noticed there wasn't a description for these initiatives, so some further description of what exactly we're approving or recommending.
Yeah, I don't really know what a strategic plan on development is what developers come in and propose based on the market. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Okay.
I don't know, yeah, I'm not really sure what that exactly means. I mean, I know what a TIF policy means, but
I think that, I don't know either, we never outlined that. I think Peter Hammond asked the same question, and it was a recommendation from our financial, soon-to-be potentially advisor. But, like I said, we could talk about that going forward. We do have a comprehensive plan update that has to be done, and there is an economic development section. So maybe that strategic planning initiative can substitute for that, because we're gonna have to put something in as our policies for economic development.
Any other comments on strategic planning and TID policy development?
where is the economic development? Is that under planning department? No. Comprehensive plan update, but that's that's a lot of, I mean,
That's
there's
what I
certainly,
talked about, because the planning commission was asked, do you want it to be more lengthy process where there's more public involvement, which is what Trustee Maher just asked, basically, or do you want just to update numbers, and that has not been decided, because as a board, we haven't talked about that yet. But if we did want to actually, have public involvement and really update the policies and not just the numbers, then that's where the economic strategic plan could help.
My comment on public involvement was specific to this strategic planning on community development, not the comprehensive plan. I mean, because the comprehensive plan generally consists of all the plans we've gone through and put together.
Hey, Rebecca?
I was just gonna, I think what this process also does is allows both the CDA and the board for the first
Mhm.
time, at least since I've been here, to have some discussion about where we're going. That's one of the key parts that's missing for both myself and for the planning and development director, to allow us to get more specific and productive for you in where our focus should lie. And it's from, speaking with the financial consultants, that will also be an important thing for them to have a clear understanding of where our two groups are at, so that they can most effectively put together a TIF policy for our review and consideration that would match up with where our priorities are.
And Mike, I can give an example. So in the past, maybe the focus, and I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but just say the focus was on the last 10 years on commercial development. The CDA has, is going to be authorizing a housing study. So then if it comes back and says housing, we lack a certain housing affordability or whatever it may say, our policy may be, or a direction to staff, which is strategic planning basically, is we really want to focus on housing for the next 5 years. So if for any reason our policies and our thinking for what we want to target has changed, it's just a good refresher since we have new staff and some new board members and some new CDA members to do that every once in a while, especially during the comp plan update or a strategic initiative plan number.
Right, but I mean, we could say, yeah, we wanna focus on housing, but if a developer comes and says, I wanna build, I wanna knock down the North Shore Bank at Lake Bluff and build small retail, they're not gonna say no because we only want housing. I mean,
So it'll be policy then. So
What?
policy would come up stuff.
what?
This is just, so a TIP policy would be more of what you're saying, which is we do not want to tear down existing buildings that are over a certain age. That's a TIP, we go
Okay,
into policy.
I know what we all know what a TIF policy is. I guess the question we're asking is in terms of I understand what Rebecca's saying is like, she and Bart need a little idea of where people are coming from in regards to various development proposals, but, I mean, I'm not sure that a plan, that a plan really makes sense, because I feel we have to be a little more market, like just let the market go where the market's gonna go.
And that's what the plan would say. I'm just saying that in planning, if that's the policy direction of the board, that's what it would say.
Mike, did you have some, trustee Maher, did you have something? So I keep thinking you're raising your hand and.
He raises his eyebrows.
His
No.
eyebrows. I agree with trustee in that you do have to be flexible. It would be helpful to give some direction to stay up on, kind of what we're comfortable with.
Maybe philosophy is a better word than a strategic plan.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it ends up
Yeah,
being,
that's
but I
good.
think that we
Good point.
definitely need to have a forum to have that dialogue.
Yes, yeah.
And so it's a catalyst working into that policy direction. So it was not meant to be intended to be a very rigid structure, but most important out of all of it, one that the CDA and the board have discussed and had that communication on.
Okay.
And right now, we haven't had an opportunity to have that, and it's needed.
Trustee McKay?
Yeah, I think the timing's great for 2020 because we have some pieces in place that we haven't had before, so, or even 2019. I don't know what the timing of this and why it would necessarily be, maybe it's something that could start before 2020 and go on, but.
So
If we could have the housing study and the probably you want to complete potentially before you would start strategic planning.
So in the initiative, there's a suggestion to have general parameters between January and April of 2020. The CDA is gonna be working on a housing study, as President Rosick mentioned. The board is also going to be going into budget in this fall. And I've just been cognizant of the time constraints with having both groups meet. And recognizing that it's something that we need to plan for in terms of scheduling.
Excellent. And facilitating and all that.
Yep.
Not that there'd be I know facilitation is we don't wanna go back. Can you tell me where, I'm on the hyperlink document and it didn't have a hyperlink for the CDA, this item, so I'm wondering where the initiative is that I could read through. So I don't wanna ask questions that are,
Yeah,
Readily
gosh, I'm sorry.
available.
I didn't write one up. I assumed that it came from Peter or from Rebecca.
Yeah, it's there. I wonder if it just the LinkedIn
Did I
profile.
go through?
let's see. Under-
And I can look at it afterwards.
Yeah, maybe.
My
Yeah,
support
if you
would
could send
Yeah,
them
sorry.
out,
Yeah,
send
maybe
out the
send- maybe send it out.
descriptions.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I don't need it for the purposes of this discussion.
Oh, you know, what, are you looking under CDA or under village board?
CDA.
I'm sorry, you know what, I failed to hyperlink it in both places. It is located under village board, strategic planning and TID policy development.
Oh, great, thank you.
So it's-
But my
Oh.
support still
Okay.
exists.
It sounds like around the table we have support for this initiative, we have some kind of tweaking to do, whether it's a plan or a philosophy.
Discussion.
Discussion,
Yeah,
I'd like
then
to
a
start with the
planning.
philosophy and then we'll see where
Yeah.
we need to go.
Yes.
Philosophy is a great way to phrase it.
Things like public input as well need to be decided upon, but
Yep.
it sounds like we're
Yeah.
on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else on strategic planning and TID policy development? Hearing none, educating on unlearning racism.
So this concept, this is the second year we're back discussing some concept. Unlearning racism is actually the name of a course offered by the YWCA, which has a fairly substantial time commitment. And there's been a number of different groups and requests for education relative to this topic.
Education to who? To the board or to the staff?
To the staff, for board members, committee members, or potentially other people within the community. There's also been a lot of discussion relative to developing policy, related to diversity and inclusion within our workforce and how that would look. And after listing whenever this topic comes up, everybody is typically starting from a different viewpoint and educational level. And if we're really, in my humble short time on earth, if we're really gonna make cultural change, I think it's important that we get on the same page in terms of even the terminology and things that we're talking about. Because it not only needs to be there from a board level, it needs to be there from a staff level and a committee level. So that when topics do get brought up, we have a general understanding of how we're gonna communicate on them and where potentially we may go. You as a group may choose to take a different direction. But with this initiative, there are many different options out there for how to proceed on it. But it calls for us to take a deeper dive into what those options might be, and to allocate some dollar amounts within the 2020 budget for some education, specifically of committees and staff, and I would include the board within that realm, for the 2020 budget.
Rebecca?
Yep.
Oh, Chair Ward?
President Rosick, you're up.
Okay, thank you. As I hope people know, I'm 100% behind racial equity and education behind racial equity. I always have been and I always will be. I think there's a lot of groups out there that are already, when we formed the HRC, we made sure, Heather, myself, Trustee McCabe was there, but we made sure to say we don't want to duplicate efforts. So the first thing I just want to say is, I wouldn't want to duplicate efforts. So if the library is already taking on community education on racial issues, I think we don't, in my personal view, I wouldn't want to spend money to do the same thing. And the schools also working with YMCA and some other things. But that's my one thought. But for our own staff and our own board members, it may be beneficial. I really would like to delegate this down to HRC. I mean, they are a new board, a commission, who should be giving us recommendations on what they feel would be helpful in the community. And it's a definitely we make sure the members, and thanks to Trustee Amanda and Trustee McCabe, as liaisons, have made sure that our membership is, diverse. And I think they are in the best position to tell us, once those subcommittees meet, what is needed in our community right now. And the education of the board members is dire for 2020. I would like to hear that from them. My gut tells me that we need to identify like the only way that things really change is through the law, in history, and so we will need to be educated at some point. I just don't know what the right timing is to spend the money. Because I think the HSC has been set up for that purpose to give us recommendations.
Trustee McKay, then trustee Maher.
Thanks. I'm glad you mentioned that, President Rozek. The HRC actually did ask for this type of training. They really want to be all on the same page and have the same language and concepts, kind of the same framework with which to start the learning. And I think what everybody, what's kind of common knowledge, and Trustee Warren has had a lot of experience leading these types of initiatives, is that, you know, it's really a process and a journey. It's not just 1 hour workshop that you sit through, but it's really kind of a process. And so the HRC is ready for that process to begin, and I think the 45 days that Manager Ewald is suggesting is the time to go around and get that input. And I didn't have time to basically the conversation that I had at the HRC was before. It must have been before April or May. It was the last meeting that I attended as liaison, and it came up, and I said that I would bring it forward as an initiative and, collaborate with them along the way. So that doesn't have to be done tonight. It's more of making a commitment. I think our job as the village board is to discuss and consider what kind of resources we can put towards it in terms of whether it's dollars to pay for training, dollars to reduce the cost of training by, we put forward some and then people can volunteer to pay the other half, or it's giving time off work to attend training. That's where we come in. But the HRC has requested this.
Trustee Maher.
Yeah, I would support this initiative.